3BC.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of 3BC, and that is Three Black Chicks, powered by the Kudzukian Network. Check us out on Instagram at 3BC Podcast and Facebook, Three Black Chicks. Today we have a special guest. I have my three black chicks here as always, Chloe, Casey the Alchemist, and One Solo. But we have a special guest today that has a very interesting product. I think some of us ladies might be interested in. Maybe some guys, whatever. I mean, no judgment. Chelsea Cebara, and she is the owner and proprietress of Velvet Swing. And we'll talk about I'll let her talk about what that is. Ladies, hello and welcome.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hello.
So, Chelsea, you want to tell us about Velvet Swing? Velvet Swing, in and of itself, sounds very fun.
Well, yeah, I could tell you. First of all, I'm a co-founder. My business partner Matisse is the owner of the brand. I'm the formulator and product developer, but we kind of started it together. But we call her the founder because it's it was kind of her impetus to do it. And the name Velvet Swing was also her idea because we wanted something that wasn't very overt, and she chose this old-fashioned, it's like from the Victorian era. It's a slang term for a good time with a lady. You say, take a ride in my velvet swing, something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's where the name comes from. And what it is it is the world's first water-soluble, water-based, cannabis-infused personal lubricant. And so the question people always ask right away is, well, why would I want to put cannabis on my genitals? What does that do? Does it get me high? That kind of thing.
Why not? Just saying, you put it in your body. Why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people who say that. And the reason for that is because when you use them topically, whenever you use cannabinoids like THC and CBD, but especially THC in this case, it really dilates the blood vessels. If you have a very thin skin and a lot of blood vessels like you have in genitals, on areolas, any erectile tissue, stuff like that, you're going to see an increase in blood flow. And you can connect the dots there. When it comes to sexual response, blood flow is a huge part of it. So,
sure.
So it really helps with the natural sexual arousal response. And we hear some really, really good things. We're really proud of it.
And how long ago did you guys start the company again?
Well, it's been 3 years. I'll always know how old the company is because I was 7 months pregnant when we started.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, Velvet Swing around here, Velvet Swing.
Now, was that during your testing phase? Were you testing the product and it worked really well?
Well, I had been making on my stove cannabis lube for my friends for a long time. I heard about this about a decade ago. And I treat my endometriosis with cannabis. And that's been the only thing that ever worked for me was cannabis. So I'd been doing that. And I heard my background is in sexual health. My degree is in sexual health. And I was hearing things from people about cannabis lube. And so I looked it up and I made a batch and it just blew me away. And so I kept doing it. And so I was like the lady that made the cannabis lube to my friends. So,
nice.
And Matisse was one of those.
Tell us more about the endometriosis, because not to veer too far from the topic, but a lot of us suffer from endometriosis or fibroids or things, similar to that. But so how does that work? Is it topical or are you just like token up?
Well, I actually, when I was doing, I do both. And I find that kind of amplifies it. And it is about 10% of women have endometriosis, which is a very large number, unfortunately, and it's misdiagnosed or poorly diagnosed a lot.
Sure.
So I had been prescribed muscle relaxants, painkillers, everything. Nothing ever helped.
Yeah.
And then one day it's crippling, debilitating pain. And I was just crunched up on the floor. And my friend said, do a couple bong rips. And at this point, I wasn't a big fan of weed. I was in Florida where like the weed is garbage. Honestly, it's not good.
Not so on the West Coast. At all.
So I've had much better stuff since then. But the main point is like my pain was gone in 10 minutes, and
Wow.
It changed my life. I really started working in the cannabis industry shortly after moving to Washington because I was very dedicated to getting the word out to women, especially about the potentiality of this.
So is it cannabis oil? That's the topical that you use, or just kind of a salve?
That's what I did use. So the best treatment that I had, the way I would treat it is I had these suppositories, which you can make just by doing coconut oil and shea butter and some high quality pesticide free cannabis. And you can just infuse this on your stove. You can look up recipes online. It's not hard to find. And then you just put a little suppository vaginally up by the cervix. And then you can also rub that same kind of thing on top of the uterus or the mons right there. And then I would do that. And then I would just have, you don't need much, a puff or two. I mean, and I didn't even get high. That was what I was amazed by. I'm not even high. It just made the pain stop.
Nice.
And it was really profound for me.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that too. I know that's not exactly what we were talking about, but I thought that was important to make a note of for this.
My pleasure. No problem at all.
Well, but here's one thing that is important to ask down here in the southern United States, where we go to jail for using cannabis. Is hemp CBD impactful in the same way?
Not in the same way.
Okay.
But what you can expect, I mean, and I have to put a big disclaimer on this because I am a representative of a business. So I have to say I am not giving medical advice, and I am speaking from my own experience only. But CBD I've found to be pretty effective in treating spasmodic pain, which is the type of pain that you would get with menstrual cramps. Unfortunately, CBD it's what we call, and you'll like this, it's called a promiscuous cannabinoid. And that it's slutty. It is it's a slutty cannabinoid. So what that means is that it has weak action at a large number of receptors. So it's pretty weak on its own. And because of the legal situation that we find ourselves in, the regulatory situation, what people are often finding is only CBD. And it's really not a cannabinoid that works well in isolation. So if you want to compensate for that problem, then you need to crank the potency. The potency has to go up, up, up to overcome the fact that it's relatively weak. That's the bad news. You want to look for something that's high potency, and those can be in short supply.
And define high potency too.
Well, it's really going to depend on the product. So if you are looking at, let's see, like a 1 ounce salve or something like that topically, then I would want to see a 1 ounce salve with upwards of 100, 120 milligrams. I would want to see that density in a salve. If you're going to smoke it, then that might be a little bit different. But CBD is a hard, smokable CBD strains might be possible in Washington. We see those up here, but probably not down there.
No, we don't even have your product down here. I look for it.
And I'm so sorry about that because we do use THC. And we
can't order it, right? We can't even order it.
No, that was my question. Can you order it?
I wish. I desperately wish. But what I can do before laws change and we're able to get a THC version there is I can tell you kind of how to engineer it with CBD only. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that just is going to our parent company, and they make an emulsion technology that uses CBD only, and you can use that emulsion technology to adjust the lube that you usually use, or you can purchase or create a very clean variation that can get you with just CBD. And that just means you have to get your hands on either a CBD extraction or some CBD plant material that you can infuse into some coconut oil.
Okay. Or we can have it sent to KC and she can bring it to Memphis.
Now,
but we're not saying that on air.
That
we're
would
not.
be absolutely
it's just theoretical.
I could never condone such a thing, nor tell you that people do that all the time. I would never say such a thing.
It's just a theory. I mean, I'm just floating theory.
Right.
Right.
Hypothetical here. So I'm sure now, not, some of us are really adventurous and we like different versions of sex. We may like the oral sex. We may like the anal sex, so Velvet Swing is safe for both of those. I mean, I know there's a concern if you're giving oral sex and you have the lube on there. Is it ingestible? It's safe to ingest?
It is absolutely safe to ingest. We do not brand it as an edible, but the ingredients are very safe to ingest. It is, we all use food grade ingredients here because we understand. And I told you I'd had a funny story about this. So we had a focus group. And one of the things that we do is we want to make sure that, we're branding our product as non-intoxicating. We're saying it's not going to get you high if you use it genitally. Well, then we have a lady who gave a 45-minute oral session to her partner. Oh. And first of all, high five.
That was, really, yes. 45 minutes.
That's what I was going to say. High five for 45.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel good about her partner's life. I feel like it's good.
I don't feel good about her permanent lockjaw, maybe.
Right.
Or carpal tunnel in the face.
But yeah,
after that one solo, this lady gave a 45-minute topic.
Listen, I keep trying to tell y'all that's how long it takes sometimes. I don't believe it.
I don't want to believe it.
We don't want to believe it.
How about that?
I don't want to find out. I'm going to take everybody's word for it.
Baby. But I mean, I don't know. I don't even think it takes 45 minutes though, because all the times that I've used a lubricant, it's been both, right? So we've done all the stuff with it. So I've tasted it and I felt it inside of me in the vaginal wall. So I don't know which works more effectively. So I just know that it works.
Yeah.
So obviously she's one of the adventurous ones.
Yeah.
But
it is.
It's not for that 45 minutes alone.
So what happened to the lady with the 45 minutes? Yeah.
So what happened?
She got high, and that's the thing to remember is when you use it genitally, it's going to be a local effect. You only feel it in the vagina and area, around there. But if you get it into your digestive tract, and that means your mouth or your rectum, you're absorbing it into your bloodstream because that's what those areas are designed to do. Mm-hmm. And you do run a risk of getting high. Now that might be great for you. You might love that, but that is the warning that we got to just put out there, and that makes it an intoxicating product. Or you can pair it. People will do, Velvet Swing genitally, and then they'll have a joint or something, and that's really nice too. As long as you're following your good consent and intoxicated play protocols and thinking about it in advance, have fun.
Now, being in this industry, I imagine, and you are public, because I found you on the Twitters. I would imagine that people ask you just the most outrageous things.
Yes, we do, and we get these novels. People will send us, and it's men. It's always men. I don't want to gender it necessarily, but it's always men that send us these lengthy, detailed stories of their fantasy. Like, it's very very explicit and lengthy. And 4 pages later at the bottom, there's like so do you think Velvet Swing would work for that? Here's my number.
Yet they can't read a 1-sentence text message.
Right.
They can send a whole book.
Chelsea is married with a family. Okay. So stop that first and foremost. Okay. Let's not. All right.
Right. It's not an invitation.
At all.
Yeah, nothing.
It's a business.
As a woman in the sexuality sphere, this happens to everybody. Any presenting as female person who's trying to talk about sexuality. I mean, it's a serious subject. It's a vital subject for our well-being as humans. We need sex. Most people need sex. Asexual people are out there, but most of us do need sex. And the fact that we're talking about it doesn't mean we specifically want to have sex with you.
Right.
That needs to be
correct.
Said. Yeah.
So Chelsea, what else are you working on?
Well, you caught me at an interesting time, Casey, because I am actually shifting my work with Velvet Swing a little bit because we have got our parent company is actually buying the brand. And now we've always worked with them, we've been with them. So that's fine and everything is good there. But I'm going to shift into more of a consultancy role. So I'm still going to be, answering questions and emails and promoting and everything. But that is opening me up to take on some other contracts from other people. So I've recently set up my website, which is just chelseacebara.com, for any companies, especially that are new to the cannabis space, whether it's CBD or CBD and THC nationwide, who maybe have had success in other spheres and want to move into the cannabis space, but are unfamiliar with how to formulate with cannabis extracts. That's really my area of expertise. And so I have a number of workshops and consultancy options for people who are, if you want to optimize a cream or a beverage or something like that, and you're just not sure what kind of hurdles cannabis could present. There are significant ones, and I want to help people out with that. So kind of broadening, and this, I guess, is my announcement that I'm hireable as of 2 weeks from now.
I mean, it's actually a really brilliant idea. I mean, what better to relax a person and make the experience more pleasurable and more intense than that combination. Lube is supposed to do that too, but you just took it up a notch. So it's really, really a brilliant concept. I kind of wish I thought of it a little bit.
Well, you can definitely enjoy it. And you want to think of it not like a lube. In fact, I always like to say that you want to think of it more as a topical, because you get more bang out of it if you let it sit there for a minute. Mm-hmm. So you want to put it on kind of in advance, and you get a little more, oomph out of it that way.
Like an edible, sort of.
Like an edible.
Yeah, let an edible sit for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, you can find Velvet Swing at the website, velvetswing.com. Thank you, Chelsea, for coming on today and enlightening the people. And maybe if we could put up, for those of us in more restrictive, Bible belty, back asswardsy states, we could put up a little life hack about how to create something similar with CBD, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I would be happy to just, there's ways to do this just with a double boiler and your stove. And cool. So I'm happy to tell you how to do that. And I just take no responsibility for any of the effects.
We'll put a disclaimer. We don't either. We take no responsibility. Chelsea and Velvet Swing take no responsibility, but we'll give you the game. So thank you so much for this, though. This was so cool. Thank you.
Oh, my total pleasure. I really appreciate it.
It was very.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate you letting me be creepy in your DMs, Chelsea.
You're very welcome there.
Shout out to KC one time for the Twitter creep. Thank you for making it happen. You guys, you have been listening to a very educational 3BC today. Again, you can find us at 3BC Podcast on Instagram and 3 Black Chicks on Facebook. And this is 3BC, powered by the Kudzukian Network. See you next time.
3BC, recorded at Kudzukian Studios, directed, produced, and distributed by Kudzukian.
Join the conversation at facebook.com/3BC.